Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, coming to you live from COG Studios on Thursday, September 19th, ahead of the LA Galaxy's matchup this weekend with the Montreal Impact. We're going to talk about that game, get you ready for that, clean up some things from that big 7-2 win over Sporting Kansas City. Then we have a Golden Boot race to fill all Golden Boot races. We're going to talk about that. Zlatan Ibrahimovic in the hunt there, MLS MVP in the hunt for Zlatan Ibrahimovic as well. So lots of nominations to talk about in terms of those postseason awards that are going to be given out here very shortly. So we'll do that, and then, of course, like we said, getting you ready for Montreal, telling you what games to watch. Just an absolute packed show on a Thursday night with just 4 games left here for the LA Galaxy in 2019. And then the playoffs, if we're going to be positive on the outlook, the playoffs are coming. So the Galaxy cruising up, ready to do that. All right. To help me tonight in the studio back once again, it is the man, the legend, the hammer, the Portuguese hammer, Mr. Eric Vieira. How's it going, buddy?
It's going very well. I'm happy to be here. With that lengthy intro that you had,
yes,
you buried the lead.
Which is?
You didn't let our listeners know. We are 1,426 on the iTunes sports charts.
Wow.
I mean, we are just tearing it up.
We're almost in the top.
I brought the El Silencio Mezcal,
right.
The Espadín. We're celebrating here. We're 1426. We finally did it. We made it. It's a collective effort. Shout out to you, Josh. Shout out to all the listeners. We couldn't have done it without you. 1426. Big moment for all of us today.
A huge moment. I mean, when you think of when you try to put that in perspective, there are only 1,425 other podcasts that are better than us.
Yeah,
I mean, you can barely fill up a high school auditorium with that number.
Yeah, that's a G2 attendance game. Is that too soon for that joke?
It was probably. Okay. I think that might be a little bit more than the G2 usually gets, if we're going there. But no, a lot of hard work. I think both of us there for that one, right?
It's mostly you. Let's not. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding anyone here. So well done. Congrats to you.
What you didn't point out though is that we're like top 200 in Cambodia or something like that.
Well, yeah, Saudi Arabia and Vietnam. We're big.
We're big.
We're heading there.
I don't know why.
Live show.
No, yeah. Who knows why? Don't know. Yeah, it's the live show. That's what it is.
We're gonna go on location in Abu Dhabi. I think that'll be our next goal.
If I come to Abu Dhabi, can I stay with you?
Listen. Buy the shirt.
Yes.
Those funds will go directly first class air travel to Dubai, and we'll make it happen.
Real quickly, let's talk about the shirts.
Let's do it.
About 40 sold, by the way, which
well done.
Which gives us some pretty good some cash to put in. Actually, all the cash just went to go buy new stickers. Really, that's what it is. So that's what we're having. And if you've been paying attention to our Instagram at Galaxy Podcast or at Galaxy Profile, then you have seen the new cartoon that we got released of yours and I. Truly, I mean,
it's a beautiful rendering.
Yeah, it is. Oscar Rosales did this for us. I know you've seen him at Galaxy Artfire on Instagram. He does a great job. So whenever I saw some of the stuff he has been putting out, like his Ellison or his Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Zlatan kicking away Latif Blessing and the stickers and that type of thing.
Yeah, Carlos Vela crying.
Carlos Vela crying with a goat.
With a Chivas goat.
Oh.
I mean, the man has been killing it. So all these renderings have just been fantastic. Great stickers. He had a Cienfuegos one that he released this weekend. Carlos Ruiz. So the man's on fire.
He is amazing. So we want to point you to him if you want to purchase any of his stickers, and let you know that the cartoon you see on some of our branding that you see either on Instagram or if you're watching on the live show that's on the screen and something that will now be a part of this show. If you want to do any of that, we're going to have those stickers for sale here shortly. We actually ordered them, so as soon as they start to come in, I'll put them out and you guys can purchase them. But you want to go check out Oscar's stuff as well. And again, I just want to remind you, at Galaxy Artfire on Instagram, he has a bunch of great stuff on there. We're currently on his page right now.
Which, of course, why not?
We're a big deal. So he's on there, but like you said, Jonathan Dos Santos is in there, Carlos Ruiz, Fish is there.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of good stuff. Cienfuegos, Roman Ellison, and then he also has another page as well, and that one he wanted me to plug as well, is at Blinkies BLEENKIES1. All right, so you can go follow him there for some of his other art that he does, because he doesn't just
non-Galaxy related
do Galaxy stuff, but his Galaxy stuff is fire.
But it's all good. Yeah. Well, you're gonna this that's why we're 1426
because of bad puns
we're getting
like
in
that.
touch with the millennials. This is fire, straight fire, homeboys.
That's right.
No one says homeboys anymore, right?
No, I don't. You're asking me. I feel like I'm getting more and more out of touch with everything. People tweet me things, and I have to look them up on Google all the time. So anyway.
Good times.
All right, so we get through the LA Galaxy with that 7-2 victory over Sporting Kansas City, which is great. It's what you want to see. But there were some things that we needed to clean up from that. There is big news around that, or at least some news. There's more records that the LA Galaxy set that night, and it took MLS and everybody a while to sort of flesh them all out.
I was going to say, I think the Galaxy took a while to figure it out. I think they were posting things on their social media, of the records being broken, but they had to update some of those as the game was happening. I mean, some of us called this a must-win, but when they won, it was like, wait, no one was expecting 7-2. I mean, that was just an outrageous scoreline. You look at the stats and you say, it doesn't look like it was too much of a lopsided victory, but I think you mentioned it on Monday's show, efficiency, everything that just happened to bounce right. There's been a lot of games where, a post here, just wide, a goalie coming up big, and the Galaxy really didn't benefit from those. And this is the game. It's almost like they used all their credits. Everything cashed in this game.
Yeah, it feels like that. All the bounces went to, that's sort of what we got. Yeah. All right, so let's go over some of these records, just so that way you can tell all your friends, and so we can sort of put into perspective what actually we all witnessed on Sunday night. By the way, one of my rowing coaches is a big Galaxy fan. Actually, him and his girlfriend go stand with ACB all the time, and so he didn't know.
You have to row to stand with him, because that's a workout in itself.
He's a beast. So Brian, what's up? Thanks for rowing with me, buddy. All right. He was like 7 goals, man. Whenever I came into workout on Wednesday night, he's like 7 goals. He goes, I didn't know what I was seeing. I'm like, most of us didn't. So the 7 goals from the Galaxy marked the 8th time in league history where a team has scored 7 or more goals in a game. The Galaxy have done it on 3 occasions, with no other team doing it more than once. The Galaxy did it twice, actually, within 29 days of each other in 1998. 8-1 victory over FC Dallas and a 7-4 victory over the Colorado Rapids, and then, of course, they did it in 2019. So the Galaxy hold the MLS record with the biggest margin of victory, I think, and the most goals scored, 8-1 victory at FC Dallas in 1998.
I think we talked about this a few shows ago. If you're looking at any record in MLS history, you're going to find the Galaxy somewhere on that list. So when you talk about most goals scored in the game, I was not shocked to see when you first sent me that, you sent me the graphic via text, and I thought it was just the LA Galaxy scores, and I said, oh no, this is league wide. They just happen to have more than one entry in that case.
This is the 3rd time this season a team has netted 7 goals in one game, the most in a single year in MLS history. Of course, the second busiest year was in 1998 when the Galaxy did it twice. So again, a little gap between that. Somebody also mentioned it's the biggest gap ever between 7 or more goal games, because the Galaxy are the only ones that have done it. So it's 29 days was the biggest, and then they did however many days it is in between the other ones. So that's what it is. Okay, this is interesting. For the first time ever, a team conceded the opening goal, then went on to score 7 goals in a game. Remember, Sporting Kansas City scored first. This was a 1-1 game at halftime. The Galaxy scored 7 uninterrupted goals.
There we go. I like the phrasing there.
You have to. This is all specific little things.
The funny thing, they were down a goal, and technically Zlatan missed a penalty.
He did.
He missed a penalty, and that the fact that he was able to put it away shows what a pro he is. But things don't bounce your way. Well, we can be looking at a very different result at halftime, and who knows what happens in the second half.
Well, now it doesn't count as a penalty kick goal. So he didn't want that on his record. So he did it on purpose. I think Kevin and I were joking about that on Monday. For the first time ever, we talked about that. Okay, Ibra scored in the 32nd minute off of the missed penalty kick and then burying the rebound. Then finished his hat trick in the 85th minute. The 53-minute span between the 7 goals marked the fastest in MLS history, surpassing the 69 minutes it took Minnesota to score 7 goals in a win versus FC Cincinnati on June 29th of this year. And then also the Galaxy also scored 7 uninterrupted goals, the most of any game where both teams scored. which is interesting.
Say, some of these are
really reach, right?
Oddly specific. It's like the best podcast that's higher than 1,425 in the rankings. It's very specific. I'll take it, but still,
we're the best podcast outside of the first 1,425. Yeah, I mean we're in first place basically when you think about it that way. If you group all those other ones,
phrase everything correctly,
right?
But still, I mean it is a pretty crazy stat. The span in between 7 goals to break the record there. Again, we've seen people score hat tricks in a short amount of time, but for a total team performance, the amount of different players that got on the board to do it in that short of a span is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty crazy night whenever you try to really start putting into perspective all the things that sort of happened and how quickly it all happened too. So we'll see what that means for the game against Montreal. But locked within all this as well, Zlatan Ibrahimovic gets a hat trick, suddenly moves within 2 goals of Carlos Vela. So as you're looking at it right now, Carlos Vela seems to be the runaway favorite for MLS MVP. Yeah. Now, I think a lot of this might come down to the Golden Boot race, which is now an interesting one. There are 3 players: Carlos Vela, 28 goals, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 26, and Josef Martinez, who scored 2 goals on Wednesday night against Cincinnati. Please, that's a game.
Those shouldn't count.
They should.
All those, did Zlatan score one against Cincinnati? Or no? That was the Boateng goal, and something else happened there.
Yeah.
But still, I think everyone should get a goal against Cincinnati, or no one should get a goal against Cincinnati. It's one of those that the averages make itself work. But, pretty impressive, especially since Martinez broke the record last season.
31 goals.
He was far enough behind that maybe Vela was going to run away with it. So he's now in the conversation. Zlatan's in the conversation. Yes. Did you mention that he broke Carlos Ruiz's record? Was that part of it?
That was part of the last show, but yes.
Yeah, but I think on this one, the fact that he actually did it, at home against SKC was big. So I think not only did he know that the Galaxy record was in reach, and he was probably motivated by that, now that he can sniff Carlos Vela, we know how he feels about him,
right,
and our rivals across town. So I think if he knows this is happening, you can't put a cap on how many goals he can score in a game if it's within reach. And I think 2 goals is within reach, 3 goals is within reach, 4 goals maybe is within reach. So it's pretty crazy. If it's within reach, I think he's going to go for it.
Well, they gave me all these stats. MLS did whenever before the Wednesday night show, but I can tell you that at the time they said all 3 players have already turned in a top 10 goal scoring season in MLS history, and it actually turns out all 3 are now top 6.
That's crazy.
And the fact that there are 3 and they've combined for 80 total goals is by far the most from a goal-scoring trio ever in the same. So they're like light years ahead of any of these other ones.
So that's so when you pull up a graphic, top 6 or top 10 goal-scoring seasons, 3 of them to happen in the same year. It's pretty wild when you put it in that perspective. If you're one who likes to dig into graphs and when people pull up stats.
Yeah, first time in league history, all 3 are above the 24 goal mark. That was whenever Josef Martinez was at 24. Now it means between all 26.
They might all get 30.
I think that they will.
I think that's a possibility.
I think there's a possibility that all 3 of them could actually top the 31 that Martinez put up last year.
That'd be wild. Imagine scoring 32 goals, breaking the previous season's record, but then someone else scores, 34 or 35.
It's funny. Philip in the chat room says, Zlatan with 6 goals on Saturday. Tell me, and we've gone over this. Tell me that's unreasonable.
Well, they scored 7 in a certain short amount of time, and given the Zlatan giving the heavy percentage of LA Galaxy goals, I don't put 6 out of the range.
He could get like 5. You never know how it goes. Anyway, the other big sort of thing watching here is the goal scoring rate. No player who has scored 20 or more goals in a season has ever scored at better than a goal per game. And we've been keeping track of Zlatan Ibrahimovic this whole time. And I've been telling you he's averaging more than 1 goal a game for a while here. Both Vela, 28 goals in 27 games, a 1.037 goals per game, and Ibrahimovic, 26 goals in 25 games, a 1.040 goals per game, are ahead of that standard. So nobody's ever finished with more than a goal per game in Major League Soccer. And by the way, I know everybody says, "Oh, well, this is the detractors are going to say it's MLS and it's showing how bad the quality is," but really, I think it's showing how good the talent on the offensive side has sort of improved.
Carlos, say what you will, Carlos Vela, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Josef Martinez, they have top-notch ability. When you see how they strike the ball, when you see how technical they are in front of goal, there's no doubt that they are world-class finishers of the ball. Say what you will about MLS defenses, say what you will about goalkeeping, but they know how to finish, and I think you can't argue that. So I think we've seen Zlatan do this around the world. So you can't say, oh, it's MLS. He's done this everywhere he's gone. So that's a difficult argument for me.
All right, they then went on to highlight the opponent's scoring records. Basically, how many goals each player has scored against the opponents that are currently coming up. Now, Josef Martinez had scored and had the advantage on this one. He had 14 goals scored versus 14 games played. So basically, in playing Cincinnati, San Jose, New York City, Montreal, and New England, Josef Martinez, in those 14 games he's played against that opposition, he scored 14 goals. So he was sort of the leader in the clubhouse on that particular one. Now, that being said, Atlanta United has probably the toughest of the remaining schedules between all of those.
Of those three teams.
Yeah, of those three teams. And so, seeing him possibly fall out of this race is a possibility. Also, it's Josef Martinez, and he could score like 4 goals in a game and
Again,
also do that.
I put him up there with Zlatan. He can catch fire and get 3 or 4 or 5 in a game also.
Yeah, we were talking. There's 4 games remaining, and I know we were texting each other back and forth and sort of saying, okay, so what's realistic? Does Zlatan? How many goals do you think?
I mathed it out.
You mathed it out,
and so with the average that they have against the times they've scored previously, if you extrapolate it forward doing a formula, Vela ends up with 30 or 31, because he's kind of in that half point range.
Right.
Zlatan would end with 29, and Josef would also end with 29.
Oh.
So you could see 31, 29, 29, but that's on paper.
Right.
And we know that, these are players that are highly motivated, and if you tell Zlatan he can't do something, I think we'll see the opposite. So if you work it out, 30, 29, 29, heck of a close race and it'd be amazing to see. But I think they might be able to surpass that when they know the stakes of the race.
Well, the other thing is that LAFC really does have a lot of things wrapped up already. Are you going to rest Carlos Vela for the playoffs? He's a guy who's coming off an injury.
I was going to say he hasn't been playing recently because of injury. So, do you shut him down until he's fully healthy?
I think they do. I think they shut him down.
It's a smart move.
He doesn't play
so he's
at
done.
all.
He's done at his 28 goals, and it's up to Josef and Zlatan to break the record.
And here's the thing is that after the game on Sunday, Zlatan was asked about the goal scoring record, and he says, it's not something I really pay attention to. I'm paraphrasing. He's like, it's not something I pay attention to. I want to win games, and the way we win games is I score goals. If I end up scoring records and doing records with that, that's fine.
I'm going to break every record in MLS. Right. Okay, Zlatan.
But this is so again, whenever you heard Zlatan talk before the LAFC game, he was very short with his answers. He wasn't boastful. Yep. He wasn't outrageous. He was focused and intense. And to me, this is him focused and intense. He knows exactly where he knows where Josef Martinez is. He knows exactly how many goals he thinks he needs to score in order to win the Golden Boot. And you can bet your bottom dollar that is going to be a motivational factor for him as he goes against Montreal and RSL. I don't think it's unreasonable to think in the last 4 games that Zlatan gets another hat trick within those 4 games. And I also don't think that 2 of those other games are probably multi-goal games. Which would be a lot of goals. Maybe it's not enough. Maybe it's not enough to win the Golden Boot, but this is a motivational factor for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and he's lying if he tells you differently, or he's certainly being cagey. He's just...
Yeah, well, let's look at the docket. Montreal... they're having a pretty bad run of form. It smells like a multi-goal game from Zlatan. Away at Salt Lake, maybe that's the one where, he would come up drawing a 0. But then you get Vancouver at home. That smells like it could be a multi-goal game.
Because they're eliminated for the playoffs. They're done.
Away at Houston, if everything's on the line and you need Zlatan to come up big, that could be a multi-goal game. So that's, 6 goals? If they're all multi-goal games, add that to the total. He breaks the record. And could take the lead. I'm getting everyone's hopes up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna towel off.
Whoa, easy.
Someone get the hose, spray me down.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the. I think it's going to be a factor in how Zlatan Ibrahimovic plays, and I think that people should watch this. The fact that he's in this now. Again, I preface this sort of starting with MLS MVP and sort of, hey, where's that going to go and how's that going to look? And everybody has really said, okay, it's about. Listen, I think that if Zlatan leads, and Kevin said this on Monday, Kevin said, if Zlatan leads the LA Galaxy to the playoffs, and it looks like he drags them with him
on his shoulders,
there's a real argument to be made that Zlatan Ibrahimovic is the most valuable player in the league.
It goes back to the definition of most valuable player, and I've actually...
I hate this argument.
I've turned the corner on this, because the title most valuable is, if you remove them from the team, where would they be?
Right.
And so with that, you can argue Zlatan is the most valuable player to his team. But I think what MVP really means is who was the best player that season on, what's likely the best team. And I think, you hate to say it, but it's probably the other guy, because over the course of the season, consistently, he's been the best player on the best team. So in the NBA and in MLB, I think it's the best player. And I think if you're doing it by that measure, which I think when you go back and look at the record book, you want to say who was the best player that season. That's what MVP should mean. That's, I think, the definition, it would go the other direction. But if you go by the, Webster's dictionary most valuable, then you can give it to Zlatan. You can make the argument.
What if Zlatan scores 10 goals in these last 4 games? All right, he gets 38. 38 goals. He beats Vela. He beats Josef Martinez by 5.
He's the best player in the league. Can't argue that. In history, in league history, like he said.
And you
know what? You're right.
So I'm just saying. And by the way, I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah.
I don't even.
No one's going to fight you on that.
No, they shouldn't. Somebody will.
We know who will.
They'll be like, Homer, a bunch of homers over there.
Well, I'm sure what I said, before this, I'm sure I'm going to get a little flack for saying it, but we got to be honest here.
Yeah, it really is an interesting argument whenever it comes down to it. And we'll see how that all puts out. And I'm going to tell you about who got nominated for all these awards. By the way, it's like everybody. I'm pretty sure Eric's on there for the Landon Donovan MVP award. So
that's impressive.
The best thing I love is that they name all these awards too, and then it's Landon Donovan and Siggy Schmidt. And it's like, it's basically all around the galaxy.
Yeah. David Beckham Man of the Year award.
The Golden Ball award.
Ball. There you go.
Yeah, that's what it is. So anyway, so that's where we sit.
I had a comment.
You just let it go.
Show.
Family show. Let it go. Throw it away. All right, let's get to some more LA Galaxy news. I wanted to get to Megan Riza's report today. She was at training today where Roman Alessandrini started training with the team today. So, all you people who have been sitting there going, Roman's coming back. He's starting against Montreal. He ain't starting against Montreal. And as a matter of fact, it looks like even Roman, who told our Larry Morgan, of course, that he was targeting the RSL game, that seems like that's too soon as well.
Pushing travel and then altitude, I think that's a bad idea for that to be the game where you roll him out. So, at home against Vancouver in a bench role, I think seems realistic. And, that's the right way to ease him in.
Here's the thing. Even in that bench role, I know everybody's like, Roman Alessandrini, they're salivating at the chance of Roman Alessandrini coming back. I do not think he starts at all this season, rest of the season. Okay. Even if the Galaxy make it to MLS Cup, I don't think he ever gets back into the game shape that he probably needs to be at. But he can play a significant role off the bench. Yeah. And I would expect in the Vancouver game, if he does start, if he does play, you're looking at 10 to 15 minutes max.
Yes, and I think that's where you should see. You don't want to rely on him in a situation. You want to already be up, have the last few minutes, let him get his legs, let him get some real-time minutes. That's what you want. You don't want to be in a 1-1 tied game, away at Houston and say, okay, let's bring in Roman, let's see if he could save us here. That's not the role you want to thrust him in, especially coming off an injury.
It's one of those that, again, I just think that the temperament that, or at least the understanding of Galaxy fans needs to you need to understand what he will be able to do, and there's no guarantee. Listen, if he comes in and he plays 10 or 15 minutes and he's not effective, you can't suddenly start playing him in the playoffs.
Or say he's lost it, he doesn't have it. He's been out for several months, so you have to ease him back into it. The only thing that worries me is Roman is the type of player who he lays it all out there. He'll go 110 miles per hour. I think in his debut game, 2 seasons ago, I remember the home opener, the guy was running himself into the ground.
Right.
He wanted to show those fans that they the LA Galaxy invested in a solid player. And so when he comes back, let's say, we have Pavone, we have Zlatan, we want to make some noise in the playoffs. It wouldn't surprise me if he pushes himself a little bit too much. So that's my only concern, is that he comes back and tries to push too hard too soon and re-aggravates that injury.
Well, as we move on a little bit, I want to talk about the midweek results a little bit.
They bounced our way. Everything's coming up roses for the Galaxy.
If you saw, so the big deal was that there were 3 Western Conference teams playing, and that those results would, of course, could affect the LA Galaxy. And so Portland was playing, and they were hosting the New York Red Bulls. Seattle was hosting FC Dallas, and the Seattle FC Dallas and the FC Dallas and Portland were the 2 teams that you were really watching. That's the team the LA Galaxy jumped whenever they beat Sporting Kansas City 7-2.
And Portland had a game in hand.
And this was their game in hand. This is what caught them all up to everybody else. And so you realistically, if you're a Galaxy fan, you wanted them not to win that game.
Yes.
But you're asking the New York Red Bulls to travel all the way across the country to to play on the carpet. I think it was raining sometimes there too up in Portland. It was a sort of a nasty midweek game. You're asking them to win that game, and they did.
and they did it in kind of spectacular fashion at the end there.
Well, they did it.
They got the penalty at the end of the game
that sealed the deal, but they scored in the 3rd minute.
Yeah, which was they held on for most of the game.
It was
Portland missed a lot of chances.
They bounced one off the bar. Ibobuse wide open and missed it just to the wide. Oh man, just like, and the announcers that I was listening. I think we had the New York announcers on the ESPN stream. So Shep Messing and I can't remember who the other guys.
That's who it was.
Yeah, that's who it was. Oh, Shep.
There's a blast from the past.
So Shep was there, and he's like, you can't miss that. You know, I love Shep. I'm sorry. I know some people, it drive people crazy, but I love that voice. Cracks me up.
And I think we say it pretty often, but how lucky we are to have Joe Tutino and Kobe Jones, because, you know, when you listen to these other broadcasts, they're clearly homers, and I love to be a good homer.
Right.
And I really appreciate it. But, you know, Joe Tutino and Kobe Jones really give you a nice, you know, level-headed performance, let you know what's going on in the game, and they're really fantastic at what they do. And again, no offense to Shep Messing if he listens. You know, we're
I'm sure he's big. Yeah, but he's big on the 1426.
But that was such a homer announcing, and it made it fun, but at the same time made you appreciate what Joe and Kobe do.
It's annoying. I was talking to a national TV guy a couple years ago, and he said one of the biggest things sort of holding Major League Soccer back is the local broadcast announcers, because if you go and listen to some of them, you can't. I've muted plenty of games and I watch as a neutral, and I'm like, no, we're going to be muting this. Yeah, there's some really bad ones out there. None worse than Sacramento, by the way. I'll just call out Sacramento.
Wow,
my God!
I thought we were going to protect the names of the innocent.
No,
you went right for them.
No, and I don't know if they changed since. I refuse to watch any of their games ever again. Like, I just can't. It was too much when they were playing LA Galaxy 2. Those USL games, man. Woo.
That's a ESPN Plus. You got to love it.
It's some good stuff.
Everyone's on the map.
Anyway, so that result went the way of the LA Galaxy, that 2-0 win for the Red Bulls, which kept Portland exactly where they were and didn't let them go. Now, everybody was sort of looking at it and saying, okay, if you want the Galaxy to get, you know, how high can they climb up in the standings, then you didn't want Seattle to win, but them winning was probably more important than FC Dallas getting points, so you were okay with Seattle pulling away as long as FC Dallas lost. But the best result there would have been a draw.
Yes.
And it was a draw, 0-0. So, you know, a little bit of some climbing there in terms of FC Dallas gets a point and Seattle gets a point. Yep. But nothing got out of hand. So
and it wasn't enough to catch the Galaxy for FC Dallas or Portland.
No. FC Dallas jumped Portland, which is what helped there. So Portland now sitting on the outside looking in. And by the way, struggling at home mightily for Portland, which is crazy to think.
Yeah. It's the turf.
And they don't like it either.
Yeah.
They have all their remaining games are at home. So if you're seeing their home form and how they've been playing, I don't know that they get in, which is sort of an interesting one, because I said Seattle was the pretender, and there they are still sitting in second spot.
And it's almost like, you know, they get in their own head, because now it becomes a mental game. You know, if we can't win at home and we put a bunch of losses in a row, the Galaxy were like this earlier in the year. It seemed like it was almost a mental game where they couldn't get over the hump. So I'm going to be curious to see how this season finishes. I know we've talked about decision day being an exciting thing. We're in like decision month. All these games are important, and we're scoreboard watching all across the league, because the West is just it's such a tight race.
I was just thinking, because the Galaxy have their last game on the road in Houston this year. And by the way, just saw Angel City Brigade tweet out that the visitors section sold out.
230 plus.
200 ton, 230, something like that.
Something in that neighborhood. So shout out to everyone going to Houston.
Yeah, hopefully it's not underwater. Those guys getting a little rained on again. Actually, pretty nasty rain in a lot of places. So anyway, that's awesome to see there, and that game. But the other thing I was thinking is, so that means I can sit at home and watch and get my ESPN Plus out and multi-screen that baby. I don't know, have 4 games on at the same time. Maybe the Galaxy game on my computer as I'm watching it.
Not bad.
You know, because they're all going to go off at the same time. So that'll be kind of interesting to watch and see how that goes down. Let's go a little bit to those MLS postseason award nominations. I told you that we would talk about it. Eric was like, I forgot about those. I missed them.
I want to find out where I sit on the Landon Donovan MVP race.
Trust me, I swear to God, there's like 40 nominations for each of those.
Fun fact, I have just as many goals as Alan Gordon this season.
This is true.
It's true. This is a fact.
This is true. So you're right up there. Let's see. The LA Galaxy. I'll give you the LA Galaxy ones, because I am not kidding you when I say there are like 40 nominations, and like sometimes multiple from the same team. Like Mauro Manotes and Matias Vera from Houston are both nominated on there.
Yeah, cross them off.
Carlos Gil and Matt Turner, both from New England, on there. It's like
cross Turner off. Gil,
Gil's great.
Just an honor to be nominated.
He's happy to be here.
Just happy to be here.
So he's there. Heber and Maxi Morales from New York City, and Danny Royer and Brian Wright from New York Red Bulls and Nani, of course, from Orlando. I mean, listen.
Well, he's Portuguese, so of course he deserves to be in there.
There's a lot of names.
That's based on merit.
There's a lot of names on this. There's a lot of names on this. The one that you're going to be interested in, of course, is Zlatan Ibrahimovic from Los Angeles Galaxy, nominated for the Landon Donovan MLS MVP award. Does that seem wrong?
Say that sentence one more time. Slow it down. Zlatan Ibrahimovic
is nominated for the 2019 Landon Donovan MLS MVP award. So
what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive.
I certainly recognize what Landon Donovan has done for Major League Soccer, and I believe that it is absolutely accurate
Warranted.
to give him
fair.
the name of the... But whenever you put that Zlatan's going to win the Landon Donovan award...
It's odd. He's older than Landon.
He is.
Right?
It hurts. It makes me laugh. I don't know why. It just doesn't work in my head.
In the studio.
In my head, it doesn't make sense. It's like, wait, no. Landon's gonna be winning the Zlatan award. Whenever that. I don't know. It's all sort of crazy. But anyway, so Zlatan Ibrahimovic is nominated, and I will tell you right now, if you're probably polling everybody in the league, he's number 2.
Okay.
I don't think there's anybody else who sort of pops up there. There's going to be people who argue for Josef Martinez, and that's fun. It's fun. That's cool. But he hasn't been, I think, he may have been scoring as many goals, but he hasn't been as dominant.
He hasn't put the team on his back.
Certainly not. And I think both Vela and Ibrahimovic have done that.
Yep, that's fair.
So that's why I think it's a 1-2 in everybody else.
I think you look at the Golden Boot race, I think that's your top 3. That's your argument right there. I don't know that any other teams are really have a player that stands out that much. I think NYCFC, leading the East, they're someone who you can argue whoever's leading them. But when you look at their roster, they have goal scorers, but at the same time, I don't know that there's one standout. It's a great team performance and they're doing well, but I don't think they have that name that's really carrying the team and putting them on their back.
I mean, and that's what you need to see.
Yeah, is that someone who's going to win MVP? Probably not.
No. Defender of the Year nominees, though. There are 2 LA Galaxy players on here.
Daniel Steres.
Yes.
There it is.
And who's the other one?
And the other, for defender, it's going to be Diego Polenta.
Yes, correct. So, are either of those the best defender in Major League Soccer?
No.
Which one of those would get your vote, though, if you were going to vote just for an LA Galaxy player? Would it be Polenta or would it be Steres?
You're putting me in a tough spot here.
I am. You're wrong either way, so it doesn't really matter.
I'm going to refrain from answering. To me, I think Daniel Steres has been more important to this team. So if you go by, most valuable defender, I think he's been the most consistent and valuable defender this season.
You just made so many people angry.
I know, but I love Diego Polenta. He's been so good lately, and I really love watching him play. That's tough.
Diego's going to come to your house now.
Oh, you know what? I'd actually like that. I want to hang with that guy.
But he seems like
he's fantastic. Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
What it is.
Here's the thing: if you really want to go and put Diego Polenta, it's hard for me to argue against it. They're really tight in terms of it.
He's been solid back there.
I would say that Polenta, because of his offensive abilities, but we're not talking about offense. We're talking about defense.
You're giving my Ashley Cole argument. I said the assist is what made him Defender of the Year last year.
Yes,
but I also think discipline. I think Polenta's penchant for getting yellow cards, even though Steres got a red card earlier this season. I think that discipline becomes a factor, and I think that gives Steres the slight edge for being able to keep the level head a little bit better.
I don't think you need to worry about it. I don't think either of them are going to win. But it was
at least one of those where every team submits a name.
I swear to God, it feels like that. It feels like it's college, like all over high school, where everybody gets a team of the week nomination.
It's like the MLB All-Star. Everyone gets to send at least one player.
An interesting one: Newcomer of the Year nominees.
Oh, I don't even know who would be on that list for us.
Uriel Antuna.
Okay, Newcomer. Okay, I see where you're going.
Or Christian Pavone. Now, it could have been Christian Pavone.
Not
Christian
enough
Pavone,
sample size.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And it's kind of I think it's the Ladero argument. Whenever Ladero came in, he may have actually won the Newcomer because he came in and he set Seattle on fire and they go on to win an MLS Cup.
Uh-oh. What'd you just say?
Yeah.
So they brought in an Argentine player and they went on fire and went on to win an MLS Cup?
I mean, similar? I don't know. And so that's what you're sort of, those are those ones. I don't know if, it depends. If Pavone blows up in these last 4 games, again, this is not a postseason award.
I was going to say,
like in terms of playoffs.
Voting should end before the regular season unless he just
right at the end of the regular season.
Catches fire and scores a bunch of goals, which he's shown isn't really his game. His game is...
He should have had like 4 goals against
but he opened the game up for the rest of his teammates, which is exactly what you want him to do.
Nick Warner in here in the chat room says Brian Fernandez is 100% Newcomer of the Year for Portland.
Yep.
Here's the thing, though,
He's
Brian.
Dropped off.
Here's the thing. He dropped off, and if Portland misses the playoffs, he ain't going to get the votes.
That's not how it works.
That's how it works. Hey, listen, playoff stuff is, especially MVP. If the Galaxy miss the playoffs,
you can't give
Zlatan the MVP.
Yeah, I agree.
If Carlos Vela stops scoring goals from here on out and it ends up 10 behind Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you can't give it to Carlos Vela either. All-State Goalkeeper of the Year. Guess who's nominated? Every single goalkeeper in Major League Soccer.
I was going to say, how many teams are there?
David Bingham. No surprises there because, why not?
You got to send someone. You got to send a representative. Lampson wasn't on there?
Has
he gotten an MLS minute?
He is on this list, but not on the goalkeeper one.
Okay. I know. And he should win that award.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
He might actually be the one who has the best chance of winning, by the way. David Bingham. Can you say David Bingham has been the best goalkeeper this year?
I don't want to spend another 10 seconds talking about this. No, moving on. Next award.
He's been pretty good, though. He gets a lot of crap for being barraged by shots on a regular basis.
He's coffee with cream and no sugar. It's fine. It gets you through. It's nothing special. It'll get you through the day.
All right.
I love you, David Bingham.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to like that.
He doesn't listen. We're 1426. Come on.
MLS Works Humanitarian of the Year nominees, Matt Lampson.
And you see what he does with players. With fans across the league. This isn't just home games. Every game that he goes to, he takes a picture, has a photo opportunity, has a meet and greet. He really is, deserving of that award.
Yeah, I think is it the Matt Lampson Foundation that he has, which
he
is
does have his own
cancer.
Foundation. Yeah, I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but I know he has his own foundation, and just the fact that they reach out to fans across the league wherever they go, and he finds time to make an impact where he goes. Shout out to Matt Lampson doing big things there.
Yeah, chat room is still arguing about David Bingham even being mentioned.
That's what I said. Let them duke it out and let's move on.
Most saves of the year, absolutely not. He's really nothing special, not even top 10. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
Well, we've talked about this. Most saves of the year is more indicative of the defense than it is of the goalkeeper.
It is. And the Siggy Schmidt Coach of the Year award, Guillermo Barros-Schelotto, is nominated, but so is every other coach in Major League Soccer, it seems like. So maybe not the guys who got fired.
I was going to say, and I love GBS, but I don't think should be in the running for that award.
I was trying to see if RSL had Mike Becky on that one after. Nope.
Not on the list.
Not on the list.
Interesting.
Big surprise.
Interesting. I wonder why.
They also have Referee of the Year nominations: Alan Chapman, Jair Marufo, and Rubiel Vasquez.
Oh, Fotis Bazakos didn't make it.
He didn't make it.
Not this year. Not his year.
Not his year. Maybe next year.
Unfortunate.
Maybe next year. Assistant Referee of the Year nominees. Nobody's ever heard of them.
What's the metric for that?
I have no idea.
Of the Year. Is it most yellow cards because you're issuing discipline? Is it fewest discipline because the game? I don't know how you determine that.
I don't know. I will also tell you that on all of these, I have no problems telling you like what my thoughts are on them because I have no vote. The MLS doesn't give me a vote on any of this stuff. So I actually had to get the Panda to send me over the list. I'm like, hey, that list came out.
You're his ghostwriter?
Yeah. I'm like, that list came out. Send it over to me. I want to see what it is.
Well, and that's the funny thing about referees. Wise man once told me the best thing a referee can do after the game is make you forget that he was part of the game.
Yeah. Who?
If you know the referee's name after the game, that's not a good sign.
It's usually not a good sign. It's usually not a good sign. All right. So that sort of takes us through those ones. Another little bit of news that's coming up. We're not going to dive into it because, God, there's so much time to dive into this. But I want you at least to understand what's coming up and that the LA Galaxy will be involved in this fairly rapidly after this season comes to a conclusion. Basically, today, MLS announced the 2019 MLS Expansion Priority Draft set for October 6th during MLSsoccer.com's Match Day Central, so Decision Day that's coming up on that last day. So this is the Expansion Priority Draft, which actually sets up the
actual expansion
draft. Yeah. So I'll read this real quick. I want to get through all of the MLS blah blah blah. As MLS today announced, the expansion draft itself will take place on November 19th. This is where the two new teams, Miami and Nashville, will get to come in and pick 5 players each from the list of teams. Now, there are some clubs that are exempt because they're technically calling Cincinnati's inclusion the same expansion time as these other two teams.
Okay.
Right. Remember, this happened before whenever LAFC came in and they
were off limits for FC Cincinnati.
So the exempt clubs that were selected by FC Cincinnati in the 2018 expansion draft are DC United, Vancouver Whitecaps, FC Dallas, Houston Dynamo, and New York Red Bulls. So those teams are not going to be involved in this. They're exempt because they already had players selected by FC Cincinnati.
Gotcha. They were selected. That's fair.
So they're exempt from it. They don't have to protect anybody, and they don't have to do anything.
And then FC Cincinnati themselves is exempt, correct?
I don't think so.
No?
I think they're. They might.
Although, who would you want? Who would you want
right.
from FC Cincinnati?
Yeah.
No, because that's why LAFC wasn't available.
Yeah, and
so
I think
FC
you're probably right.
Cincinnati
I don't think they exempt clubs with players selected by FC in the 2018. I would have to imagine that you're right, and that Cincinnati's also exempt. But I don't know. Who knows?
Who
It's
knows?
MLS and some crazy rules. The same general idea here, though, for the expansion is going to take place. 5 players total for each team. So 10 players total overall the league. If you have a player picked, then that means that you are then done and pulled out of the pool. So you can only lose maximum of 1 player. So that's something, and there's a protected list and who you have to protect. And you're going to have to protect all your
DPs.
All the designated players who have no trade clauses, right? Because if they have a no trade clause, you automatically have to protect them. There's also, if you have 4 or more international players, you must at least protect 3 of them.
Yep.
So the LA Galaxy will have a whole bunch of international players, but there's also going to be some looks at this in terms of who's even going to be coming back, because you have guys who are on loan, like Uriel Antuna and Fabio Alvarez. So
it becomes a little bit of a chess game too, because then some of the players who you leave available or maybe have a high salary, so you're risking, is this expansion team going to want to take a player with a high salary? Are they going to want to take an international slot? So there's a little bit of chess that goes on here as well. If it's someone who you're not going to necessarily keep on the team, this is happening in November before roster decisions are happening for 2020. So if it's someone that you're looking to release in 2020 anyway, leaving them exposed for an expansion team isn't going to harm you.
I'll tell you this, having had discussions with a bunch of people, there seems like that there could be a pre-deal, and these happen in the expansion draft, but basically a pre-deal that says...
So you're telling me players negotiate deals before the actual deadlines?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen live?
Please,
you're spoiling it for me.
We'll see if the Galaxy pull this off, but a lot of times teams can make a deal with the expansion clubs, and basically the expansion clubs comes to them and says, listen, we want to pick this guy.
A wink and a nod and say, okay,
and they're like,
done.
You're like, does this work? And does it make sense? And that type of thing. And then what you can do is you can lose a player that you were willing to lose anyway, and you don't have to protect everybody that you need to and not worry about it and the whole deal.
And if you see players who you want to protect and you don't see them protected, then that's a sign that a deal like that has probably gone through.
Yeah, because I guarantee on this particular roster, there's going to be 1 or 2 players where you're sitting there going, wait a minute.
Yeah, please don't take them because of the international spots and how well they've played. Yeah, I think you're definitely going to see some of those. So it almost behooves the Galaxy to make this type of deal with either Miami or Nashville.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes down. Again, we'll talk about protected, and we'll tell you who we're predicting at being protected. You can actually... it's not that hard to figure out, and usually you can come.
We got time. We got time.
But we got plenty of time because that's down the road. But I know there's questions about that because MLS was talking about the expansion draft. Just wanted to let you know. On October 6th, we'll find out who gets to pick first, and then who gets first in the allocation order, and who gets to go first in the supplemental draft, and blah blah blah. There's all this other stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because they're going on strike in 2020 anyway.
Yeah, this is true. The CBA negotiations are going to be a little tough.
2020 MLS season will be played on FIFA, EA Sports FIFA.
It very well may. Don Garber was out talking with people, and you always know it's CBA time whenever he starts talking about how teams aren't making any money. But he did also come out and says that he would absolutely support 100% charter flights. But then he prefaced that by saying that it would have to come out of a pool of money that, the players want other things as well. So if they want other things, this is negotiating out in the public, like you can hear it. Is if you want other things, well then that's probably going to pull some money away from the charter flights. So, what do you want here?
I was going to say I've heard these discussions before between teachers unions and districts, and it all sounds very, very familiar.
It's
if you want that, well, sure, we can give you that, but it's going to come out of your salary or your pool of money.
It's going to come from this, but then you can't have this. It's all negotiation.
We're familiar with all this. Yeah.
All right, looking at the standings real quick, and then I know Eric wants to give you all the teams that we should be watching. Right?
I was going to say, do you want to do that now?
Do you want me to do standings or what? Let me do
Let's
standings.
Do standings, and then it'll lead itself nicely. I promise you, we're pros. We've done this before.
Wait, it's the first time. New York City FC is currently first in the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia Union in second. Atlanta United in third. All 3 of those teams have clinched a playoff spot, but not necessarily the spot that they are in. So they can still move up or down and all around for that. You have Toronto FC in 4th place, 45 points. DC United in 5th place with 45 points. New York Red Bulls 44. New England Revolution in 7th in the last playoff position right now at 40. The Montreal Impact, Galaxy's Saturday opponent, is just 3 points out of the playoffs. So just keep that in mind as we go for a preview of that game. And if you're expecting it to be easy, I don't think there's anything easy about it. You can look at FC Cincinnati being eliminated in the Eastern Conference. They, along with the Vancouver Whitecaps in the Western Conference, are the only two teams who have been eliminated from postseason play. Over on the Western Conference side, it is LAFC at 64 points. More than likely, unless there is the world's biggest collapse ever, they're going to have the Supporter Shield as well, which I think they should be able to clinch actually this weekend. So we'll see if that ends up happening. It's LAFC at 64, Seattle Sounders at 50, Minnesota United at 48, Real Salt Lake at 46, the LA Galaxy 5th place, 45 points, San Jose Earthquakes 6th place, 44, FC Dallas 7th place, 44 points, Portland Timbers on the outside looking in right now, 8th place, 43 points, and Sporting Kansas City with the loss to the LA Galaxy, unlikely that they are going to be able to make those playoffs now at 37 points. Not completely out of it, but it feels like they're completely out of it. It feels like it's further than they can reach. By the way, their goal differential went from a -5 to a -10 on that night.
Not a good look.
Where the Galaxy went from a -5 to a 0, which now makes the LA Galaxy have the lowest goal differential in any of the current playoff teams. As you're looking at it all going down. Portland Timbers are closest with a +1, but they're currently sitting outside of it. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. All right.
You want to know what 538 says?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you're playing that drinking game.
Everybody drink.
But Sporting Kansas City, prior to this game, had like a 30-something, I think a 37% chance to make the playoffs. With this loss, Sporting Kansas City now has a 3% chance, according to 538.
Wow, so that's a big drop.
That's a huge drop-off. So,
and the Galaxy went up?
With yesterday's results, went from a 94% chance to a 95% chance.
Of making the playoffs.
So it's still possible, very likely that the Galaxy make the playoffs. A very, harsh confluence of events would have to happen for the Galaxy not to make it. So we're not going to get ahead of ourselves.
You mean like the loss to Houston last year? What was 538 saying at Houston last year? Yeah. Wasn't it like a 70 or 80% chance?
It was something pretty ridiculous. And, it flipped us on its head.
That's fun.
So last season I did a playoff scenario article where I said, if this happens on decision day, this is where the seedings would pan out. But I think with the 4 games that are left, we're getting into that territory now. So scenarios for this weekend, kind of if you're scoreboard watching, these are some things to look for. 3 matches are very straightforward. They're East versus West, so you're always going to want to root for the Eastern Conference team. So San Jose is at Atlanta, so of course you want Atlanta to win. You don't want any Josef Martinez goals, but you want Atlanta to win. A draw is fine because it would leave San Jose at 44 points. A draw would put them at 45, but the Galaxy has the tiebreaker. So you want Atlanta to win. A draw would be okay. FC Dallas hosts NYCFC. You want an NYCFC win. Again, that keeps FC Dallas at 44 points. Again, draw being fine because it would put them even with points at the worst case scenario, but the Galaxy have the tiebreaker. Then it gets, DC is hosting Seattle. So again, cross-country travel for Seattle. DC fighting for a home playoff game. So you want to see DC walk away with the win because then that will put Seattle within range. RSL at New England. This is a big game because it's another East versus West decision. You want New England to win. A draw is fine, but it makes RSL leapable. RSL is ahead of the Galaxy. If the Galaxy win, they leap RSL, and it takes pressure off the midweek game. They travel to RSL midweek, so if they get the points and RSL loses, it takes a little bit of pressure off of that game. The only tricky game that's coming up this weekend is Portland hosting Minnesota. So there's 2 schools of thought here. There's, if you want Portland to win, it prevents Minnesota from extending the gap, and it leaves the door open so the Galaxy could jump into 3rd place. So if the Galaxy wins, they would put them in 3rd place above Minnesota United with the tiebreaker. So if seeding is something that's important to you, you want Portland to win that game. If Minnesota wins, it keeps Portland at bay outside of the playoffs, and it basically extends the Galaxy lead. So if you're of the school of thought where you just want to win and get in, then you want Minnesota to win. So that means the best case scenario there is actually a draw. Right. Because both teams drop 2 points. So you end up with 4 drop points as opposed to if one wins or loses, it's 3 drop points. So that's the only tricky one. It's a good result either way, and it's a bad result either way because you're going to be fighting with one of those teams for seeding. You just don't know which one it's going to be.
LA Galaxy coming down to the wire here for the schedule, and we're certainly going to talk about this Impact game coming up on Saturday. Then, as Eric says, Wednesday, September 25th. So a Saturday, then a Wednesday. Wednesday, September 25th, LA Galaxy travel to Real Salt Lake. That is the hardest game remaining on their schedule. And that is a game that if the LA Galaxy, I'll tell you right now, regardless of what happens against Montreal, whether they win, lose, draw, whatever it is, a draw at RSL and that game is a huge point and could very well just sort of cement the playoffs.
A point at the road at any point. Again, there's my microphone there. A point on the road at any point this season is good, whether it's at Houston or at RSL, because if you win your home games, you get 2 points on the road and you're in really good shape.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that game. That's going to be the hardest one. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Then it is home Sunday, September 29th, the last home game of the 2019 regular season. And depending on placement of the playoffs, if the Galaxy are making the playoffs, which I think we're all assuming they're making the playoffs. So let's just
95% chance.
95% chance. If the LA Galaxy, it could be the last home game because the Galaxy could end up on the road if their seeding is a quote unquote lower seed.
If they're 5 or below.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, so we talk about higher seeds and lower seeds.
Yeah.
Right? Is it like air conditioning? If I tell you to turn the air conditioning up, does that mean you'd make it colder or you make it warmer?
Okay, so you want a higher seed.
You want a higher seed.
So you want a lower number.
So you want a lower number. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So it's like air conditioning.
Yes, absolutely.
If I tell you to turn the air conditioning up, you want a lower temperature.
A lower temperature. That's correct.
Right. But that gets misconstrued all the time. So my wife and I go over this all the time. She's like, hey, can you turn up the AC? And I'm like, okay. And I'm like dropping the temperature. And she's like, no, I meant make it warmer. I'm like, what do you mean make it warmer? That's turning down the AC. Oh, wait, is that turning down the AC?
I was going to say, I don't want to speak ill of your wife, but I'm Team Pato here. I agree. Turn up the AC means turn down the temperature.
Can I stay at your house whenever she hears this?
I was going to say, giving some events that are happening, we'll leave that off mic. Good times.
We're sitting next to it. I just want everybody to know I'm sitting next to a diva over here. Whenever that cartoon came out,
the way to throw me right under the bus. I was going to say,
after you agreed with me, I want to make sure that we're not
too simpatico. Yeah. We don't want to give the listeners. We don't want the listeners to think we actually get along.
Hey, could you change this? Could you change that? Could you make me taller?
I was going to say, I provided photographic evidence. That I wasn't exactly as diminutive next to you as I may have seen on the original draft. Oscar did an excellent job. An absolutely excellent job. I just wanted some minor tweaks, and that's fair. Tweaks. Hey, it's coming out of the COG budget. We could ask for things.
It's fine. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right. Then again, the home game against Vancouver on Sunday, September 29th, and then the Houston Dynamo away October 6th. That is decision day. Now, the games on Sunday, September 29th. I believe all Western Conference games will kick off at the same time. All Eastern Conference will kick off at a different time, but at the same time. So they'll separate those two, and then on Sunday, everybody plays everybody at the exact same time. And so it's going to be kind of a little bit crazy. It's always fun to sort of watch these go down.
That's a fun day to scoreboard watch and see what's going on around the league.
Could be an interesting one.
Except for last year.
I wonder if I should hop on a plane to Houston for that game. Pregnant wife.
I was going to say, you may end up, I may end up telling you to turn up the AC. We may be staying together at the bachelor pad there.
That's right. That's a COG bachelor pad. All right, let's get to some questions real quick. We're going to go rapid fire on these because I don't want to spend a bunch of time, but my friends over on Reddit, the LA Galaxy Reddit, quite honestly, whenever I ask them for questions, they just do a great job. I don't know if Reddit is just made for asking questions.
It really is. It's made for downvoting and asking questions.
Okay, good. I just wanted controversial is always good. Galaxy Fan 89, Dennis DeClosa recently stated, I'm going to read the question. You give your quick answer. I'll tell you if you're right or wrong.
Okay.
Dennis DeClosa recently stated in an ESPN interview with Zlatan that Zlatan will make a decision on his future after the season's end. Do you see this as a negotiating tactic for Zlatan or as uncertainty if he wants to continue?
I think it's a negotiating tactic.
You're wrong. It's just if he wants to continue. It's about physical, and he says it over and over and over again, and this is why. And I'm sure some of it is a negotiating tactic. I'm not saying it's totally, but it is mostly about whether or not he thinks his body can handle it.
You told me to give a quick answer. I gave a quick answer. Moving on.
I said if you were wrong, I would correct it. I want everybody to think. He also asked Galaxy Fan 89. I don't know if it's a he or she. That was incorrect of me. This person also asked. Also, with the CBA negotiations coming up, do you think the delay and uncertainty will hurt Dennis DeClosa and GBS's ability to facilitate more international talent coming to the Galaxy?
Yes.
Yeah,
it puts it in question. If there's something in question, you don't want to an agent isn't going to want to send their player somewhere where they're not going to actually play for a while.
And they're not going to get paid.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's also
that's going to be a lockout thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's going to hurt every team, though, so I don't necessarily know if it hurts the Galaxy more than anybody else, although there are a lot of international players, and there's going to be some open cap space.
It doesn't hurt them against other MLS opponents, but it hurts them in the international market.
Let's see. Eric Bermudez. Nice name. With
Bermudez.
a C. With a C. Realistically, what can we expect from the Galaxy versus Montreal? I would like for them to put up 7 goals on them, but this season has been so up and down quickly because we're going to get into it. What can you expect from this game?
I expect to win. Don't expect 7 goals.
Okay. I'll pass with that one. That's good. Let's see. Great Spirit 62. Montreal need to win almost more than the Galaxy to have a chance at the playoffs. True. And a draw isn't really good enough for either team. False. How will that affect the game?
Yeah. Any team you play is trying to win. Sporting Kansas City was trying to win.
Yep.
So whether they're trying to win or not, it's how well have they been playing, and they haven't been playing well as of late. And I think the Galaxy's in better form right now than Montreal.
Vapor 4, is Ellison expected to be playing in this game?
No.
He, she, this
they,
person.
Just say they.
They, thank you. They said, I'm going to be very disappointed if I have to miss his first game back. Well, then don't miss the Vancouver game.
Yep.
If Zlatan decides to leave the Galaxy, are there any rumors for those who will replace him? And who would you like to see take his spot?
Oh, geez, that's a tough question. Because
just spring on you?
Just spring on me. Who do you want to take the spot?
Wrong. Cristiano Ronaldo, and no, there are no rumors. All right. See, I did it for you.
That's the correct answer.
I was going to say. See,
again, I like to be realistic, but that's fine.
Yeah. Let's see. Nunjuice. Nunguica. I hate screen names. All of them. I don't care.
Nunjuice. I'm not touching that one.
I'm not smart enough to understand what you're trying to do most of the time. That's my problem. And obviously, we realize my street cred not exactly high. So if you're trying to have a cool, I would not have no idea. This person asks, did we sign Christian Pavon's brother? You don't know the answer to that. No.
I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
He's been training with at the facility.
Yeah, he's been.
But I haven't seen him on any roster sheets.
And he's not. And so far, there's been nothing official, and I don't think there is anything official. I think they're just being nice and allowing it. It's not with the senior team. It's always with usually the lower teams, and so whatever that means, it means. I don't know. Maybe he could show up on a G2 roster.
I was going to say, can they let me just show up and work out, and
no.
So I can get a slimmer cartoon?
No, you need to start rowing if you're gonna go out there. You're gonna have to slim down a little bit. I'm just telling you.
Hey,
I'm just telling you.
I didn't come here to get bullied.
Yeah, yes, you did.
Hey, I know
you come here every Thursday.
You're probably right.
Let's see. Frankosaurus Max.
Well done.
Max. That one I'm almost there.
You still don't know.
No idea. This is a long one, so we're going to read it really fast. Let's see how fast I can do my Micro Machines reading. All right.
Does anyone know Micro Machines anymore?
No, that was an old reference. Everybody's like, I have no idea what Josh is talking about. If we're going to make a deep run into the playoffs, our defense is going to have to improve. Currently, we've been giving up 2.1 goals over the last 10 games. Scoring 7 in a game to offset that margin will surely help, but I highly doubt that we will have to have a repeat of that. GBS likes to have his outside backs involved in the attack, which often leaves us exposed. Would holding those guys back more help out, or will that hinder the attack too much? I'd like to think that our front three could score 1 or 2 without everybody in the final third and without the backs out of position. That would help bring the goals against average from 2.1 to a more acceptable 0.5.
I don't know what the question is, but the defense shouldn't stay back. They should keep doing what they're doing. They're going to give up goals. You're going to need to outscore teams and win 3-2, 4-3. You need the offensive output from a Polenta, from a Rolf, zipping in balls, making it happen, opening up space for Pavon. Pavon is opening up space for those defenders to overlap. So I think the style is having the defenders pull forward. At this point in the season, you're not going to change tactics and ask them to stick back. You're just going to have to outscore teams.
Let's see. I had questions in there from Great Spirit 62, Vapor 4, LA Galaxy's Edge, because I think I missed some of these and people are yelling at me in the chat room. Just want to make sure I got all of them. So
that's what Reddit's for.
Yeah, I know. It's I'm going to get downvoted whenever I go back in there next time. That's how it goes. If you don't think my answer to that question, the last one was that if the Galaxy are who they are and they're not going to change, and don't try to change them and just try to work with what you have. And if you win 7-2, then keep going for that 7-2.
I was going to say, isn't that what I said?
Yeah.
Are you just agreeing with me?
I don't care. Whatever. Let's see. There's a couple of these ones from Danger TRL. Is Diego Polenta one of the best defenders in Major League Soccer?
Yes.
Is Perry Kitchen out for the season? I don't know. I don't know.
He's got a pelvis check.
Pelvis check.
Pelvis check.
Has the Galaxy front office confirmed if Galaxy 2 are moving down a division to USL League 1? You don't have the answer to this. There's no official confirmation from that. I asked.
It's above
today.
my pay grade.
Yeah, I asked today. It's still not there. And then finally, let's see. Slothy Savage 27 says, "Is Gonzalez signed past this year?" We expect that he was signed past this year. The Galaxy spent a lot of money to get him. There's a good chance he's on a 2-year contract with an option, a club option. And
whenever someone comes mid-season, expect that there's at least one more year tacked on.
Yeah, it seems that way, and so that's what it seems with people, and I would imagine that he is back next year. So, yeah.
But I also want to go back to G2. I think dropping down a division would be a good thing for them.
Yeah, into USL 1. Yeah,
USL seems to be a little bit above. When you're bringing in players from the academy, it doesn't seem like they're quite at that level.
It just doesn't. It doesn't fit the goals in USL Championship. They're trying to win the championship.
Those are pro teams, trying to win. You're right.
That's not what LA Galaxy 2 is trying to do. They're trying to develop talent for the senior team, and so it makes sense for them to drop down. And I actually do expect that to happen, by the way. All right. You want to get to this game preview?
Of course.
Are you? I didn't.
You didn't prep?
I didn't, because
I prepped. I always prep.
I'm just going to let you do these. I mean,
all right.
Everybody voted last time. I'm pretty sure I lost.
No, I think you won the last one.
Probably.
And so, like the Galaxy, they get stagnant. You caught me on an off week in Colorado, but I feel like I brought it this week. So we'll see if I redeem myself.
Wow, that sounds very ballsy, and I don't know that I agree with any of it. All right, here we go. LA Galaxy facing off against Montreal Impact, September 21st, 2019, 7:30 p.m. kickoff time. Here is your dramatic intro from Eric the Portuguese Hammer.
This Saturday, your Los Angeles Galaxy will take on Le Impact de Montreal in the penultimate regular season home match at Dignity Health Sports Park. The Galaxy are coming off their biggest win of the season, where they tallied 7 goals, including a record-breaking hat-trick from the Lion of Los Angeles, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Speaking of God himself, Zlatan just sits 2 goals back in the MLS Golden Boot race, and he will look to poutine a few more goals when those smug French Canadians come into town. Additionally, the Impact boasts a poor 4-10-2 road record. It's something that their Prime Minister cannot be proud of. It's sad, but it's Trudeau. The Montreal roster looks imposing, and we will find out if they are for real or if they are Francophonies. The Galaxy will need a solid performance from our Mounties of defense, Daniel Steres and Diego Polenta. With Rolf Felcher suspended, we'll see who GBS picks to fill in hopes that Montreal won't expose them. So put your Molsons on ice and tune in to Spectrum Sportsnet this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. If you want to say that the LA Galaxy are peaking at the right time, Al Alouette.
Wow.
Puns, Canadian puns.
That was good. Lots of them. Lots of them. I want some poutine now, though.
Some poutine, yeah. I mean, poutine, a few more goals. I was proud.
That was
of that
good.
one.
You're getting it. There's, again, the delay is nice because it allows me at least to really enjoy that.
Anytime we can, have at it with some French Canadian banter, I'm always here for it.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. By the way, somebody just said, is the hammer Portuguese?
Well,
I mean,
let the sticker tell you.
Let the sticker tell you. I don't know if that's a lie. That's sort of like, do you know who I am?
No,
that's exactly what that was. I don't know. Wow, your head's getting pretty big in here.
It is. I need to be knocked down a peg.
The LA Galaxy coming into this game 14-3-3. Montreal 11-16-4. The Galaxy 10-4-1 for 31 points at home, and then of course you have Montreal, who are just 4-10-2 on the road, 14 points total from that. The last 5 games, the LA Galaxy 1 win, 2 losses, 2 draws for 5 points. Montreal not any better though. 1 win, 3 losses, 1 draw for 4 points. However, they are coming off of a Canadian Championship 1-0 win first leg against Toronto FC that they hosted in Montreal midweek. Now,
do you know who the starting goalkeeper was midweek?
I go tell everybody
Clement
who it was.
Diop,
That's
a blast from the past.
I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know that we can expect him in LA this weekend, but kind of fun to see on the roster.
Yeah, it was interesting. If you go back to the Cincinnati game, you can see Bush in there and sort of see how they're going to line up a little bit more. Arudi, Piatti, what is it, Tyder?
Yeah, Tyder is their leading scorer. They have Boyan, who's someone who they hyped up, a new player that they got. Bakary Sang is there in defense. So when you look at their roster, it looks dangerous. You say, they got some solid defenders. They have some good offensive talent. Piatti obviously coming off injury. So you say, maybe this roster makes me a little nervous. But when you look at the form guide, they haven't won away since May. And so I just don't picture Montreal after a midweek game traveling, across the continent, making a splash here. Again, all that being said, who knows? Yeah. After a 7-2 win and you're riding sky high, who knows which Galaxy team is going to show up? But if the roster is the only thing that scares me. They have a lot of talent there. It just is this talent necessarily working together and quote unquote peaking at the right time.
Montreal has a 5 hour and 55-minute flight from Montreal to LA. That is not a short flight. In fact, it's one of the longest road trips in the continental United States that you can actually make. Los Angeles is way far south, and Montreal is way far north. I mean, and these are not on close. I mean, you can fly to the East Coast in right around 5 hours.
Okay.
So you're adding another hour onto basically an LA to New York flight is about 5 hours. I think it's like 4 hours and 50 minutes.
I was going to say it's just under 5 hours.
Yeah. So looking at this is 5 hours and 55 minutes. That's what I looked up the timing. And by the way, it said 5 hours and 15 minutes, and I realized I went LA to Montreal, and that's a different flight.
Can't cross the wind there.
It's the jet stream. It's the jet stream.
I was going to say I knew what it was, but I messed it up.
Yeah,
you're the pilot.
Yeah, I know. I even struggled to get it. So it shows you what kind of pilot I am. So we'll see where we're going with that. So again, I think the interesting thing, at least I thought it was interesting, Kevin Stott, your referee for this game. VAR, by the way, is Edvin Jurcevic. Who I know both of those guys.
As I said, these names are made up.
Yeah,
there's no one in that VAR booth. That's why we haven't seen VAR replays. They're just making up names and putting them on the roster sheet. I don't believe it.
It could not be. This is Stott's He has 348 games under his belt, 3.1 yellow cards, 82 reds, 95 penalties given in those 348 games. I actually think that he's an okay game manager.
I think he is. We know what we're getting. I don't think you're going to see anything ridiculous when you have that many games under your belt. There's going to be memories of him going against your team, and there's going to be memories of him being fine. So I think refereeing should not be a factor this week.
Let's see. The Galaxy won the last meeting last year. Remember, this is an Eastern Conference team, so we only meet once. This was a game, by the way, that Zlatan Ibrahimovic got a 41st minute red card for slapping Michael Petrasso. Now, Petrasso actually I was like, oh man, are they going to meet back up again? And stuff. I actually had to go look, and he actually had his contract.
He's working out of Tim Hortons now.
He might be. Yeah. But he had his contract terminated, mutual termination at the end of, or actually just before the beginning of this season. So there won't be any of that. No rematch there, but the slap, the stomp, none of that will be there. So I expect that Zlatan Ibrahimovic will probably still be able to survive in this. The Galaxy will have more players on yellow card warning, so that's something to watch as we go in. As Eric mentioned, you have Rolf Felcher, who will be suspended for this game because of yellow card accumulation. So we'll see if it is who sort of puts in there. I mean,
I was going to say, so what's your lineup? Is it a 1-for-1 swap?
Yeah,
for Araujo?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't touch it.
Yeah, you leave Romney out left, Polenta and Daniel in the middle, and Araujo. I think that makes the most sense. If you get funky with it, you put Polenta out left, you put Pipo, and then you shift Romney out to the right. But Romney hasn't been a consistent right back out there, although he did well. So I think you keep him on the left. You leave it mostly unchanged.
And we'll see if how that goes. Here's Jonathan Dos Santos on keeping the momentum. He says, we have to continue with the same dynamic. The team is doing well, feeling confident. We know we haven't had a regular season, but the most important thing is the end of the season. We are doing well. We are working hard. It doesn't mean we will relax because we scored 7 goals our last game. We know we will be playing another final, so we will try to win, as always. When asking about the morale, in terms of how much the morale has improved since that Sporting Kansas City game, Jonathan Dos Santos says that was very important, playing at home in front of our fans. It's always important to win to continue to adding points. We know that every game we have left is like a final, and we know that Montreal is also fighting for a playoff spot, so it will be an intense game. We will be playing in front of our fans in our home, and we have to win the 3 points.
And I just want to interject there. This past weekend, and I think Central American Appreciation Night was a factor. The fans were absolutely rocking in the stadium. One of the best games, atmosphere-wise, that I've been to this season. So those of you, if you think atmosphere has an impact on the players, Jonathan Dos Santos said it right there, and the fans definitely brought it this past Saturday.
They asked, how much more confident is he on the team? And he says, a lot more confident. The fact that we won 7-2 the last game, that we played well, that the team was 100%. Seeing the team in this level is very important. I also feel very good. Physically, I feel great, even though I played a lot of games. Like I said, the team's confidence now is a lot better than 2 weeks ago. So let's see, on the 4 remaining games and the pressure that they're facing, he goes, the fact that we have those 4 games left in the regular season, we have to secure them to get in the playoffs. Our biggest hope is to get in the playoffs. The club hasn't made the playoffs in some time, and we will keep our same mentality as always, the same as every game. Sometimes games go your way, and sometimes they don't, but whenever the team plays, we go out and try to get the 3 points and play our game. We never wait for our rival. Let's see. The only thing
these are all good cliche. Quotes.
I mean,
they say what they're supposed to say.
They were talking about Zlatan being the best, and he's like, yeah, duh. Look at the stats. That's a paraphrase.
And I was going to say, and Zlatan's not going to tell you otherwise.
No, and Zlatan shouldn't tell you otherwise.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
It's one of those. So we'll take a look at that and see how these guys do. Again, LA Galaxy versus the Montreal Impact. I don't change the lineup. You don't fix what ain't broke, but you are going to have to rotate.
Yeah, I was going to say you technically have to change it.
Yeah.
Prediction? You want to know what 538 says, Josh?
Yeah. Tell me what 538 says.
LA Galaxy's 63% chance to win, 19% chance for a tie, and 18% chance for a Montreal win. So that's about a 10% higher chance than they had to beat SKC. They're heavier favorites to beat Montreal.
That travel really hurts.
Yeah.
I think the Galaxy win this game 3-1.
You stole my prediction. That's what I have. I have 3-1. Defense is definitely going to let in a goal. Because they're good for letting in a goal, but I think Montreal is good for letting in goals as well.
They are who we thought they were. All right, that's who the LA Galaxy are. They are who we thought we are. We know what they are. They'll score a lot of goals. They'll do their stuff. But when you look at this, they're going to concede. They're going to ship some goals. It's going to happen. Yeah. There's going to be some breakdowns. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff to sort of look at. And whenever that happens, you understand that that's this LA Galaxy team.
Good times.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. It is what it is. They are who we thought they were. They're going to let in a goal, and they're going to push forward. So don't expect 5 defenders in the back. They're not going to go anything wild. At home, they're going to push to score goals, and they're just going to have to outscore Montreal.
Oh, all right. There you go. LA Galaxy facing off against the Montreal Impact coming up 7:30 p.m. kickoff time on Saturday. Game on Spectrum Sportsnet. Do not whine to me about it being blocked on ESPN Plus. I'm done. This is a long season, and I know where the games are. You know where the games are, too.
We also gave a shout out to Reddit. They had good questions earlier. Yeah. So if you're looking for a stream of the game, I don't know. Reddit might be a place where you might look.
They
you may or may not, find a link there.
You never know.
Again, I can't condone any of that.
No, that's because that's illegal. You can't do that.
And if you're listening, the fine people at Spectrum Sportsnet, no one would ever really do that. I'm just kind of throwing it out there just because, I saw it on TV once.
Zlatan gets another hat trick. I feel it. I can't.
3-1.
I can't.
All three
Zlatan goals, and one of them's going to be ridiculous too.
Oh, you're calling like a worldie.
Something is. It's just in the air. You can say. You know what it is? I woke up this morning. It was a little chilly. Just a little chilly. The air was the wind was blowing. It was coming in. I was like, oh yeah, this feels like it's actually a thing. And I feel like when fall ball is coming around, that's when Zlatan's like, oh, I'm in.
And I think you look at, whenever there's been a big game, he's always made these big proclamations. And I think after the game saying, I'm the best player in the league ever, he's going to want to back that up the very next week.
All right. There you go. You have it. Another COG in the bag.
In the bag.
Big reminder, 700 show coming up next Thursday. Still working on stuff.
It's a big one.
We'll let you know.
Should be a lot of fun.
Well, hopefully. We'll keep our fingers crossed at least. I mean, we'll try. We'll try. It could just be you and me talking, and we're like, all right.
And you know what? That'd be a very good 700 show. I don't think anyone's going to walk away disappointed if that's the case.
I love how your microphone has decided to just like,
this is the quality that 1426 brings you. This gives you the microphone quality. This is right where 1426 needs to be.
That's right. New soundboard. It's all those T-shirts. I got to get that new soundboard. So.
But, before we go away, I also want to give a shout out to everyone who stopped by for my video for the professional foul.
That was fun.
So just FYI, I'm 100% hedging when I say this, but this isn't a fully cooked idea. So we're essentially shooting some pilots and getting some different ideas and fine-tuning to see what's going to work best moving forward. But I'm just really excited and tickled that people would take the time to speak with me and come find me and do these post-game reactions and share their thoughts on the game and celebrate and sing and just have a good time. So it was a pleasure to be out there. So look for me again. I'll be at the game and maybe the same meeting spot. Maybe I'll go somewhere else. We're fine-tuning what's going to work best. So I appreciate everyone who stopped by and everyone who took the time to watch the video and find me.
All right. Tell people where they can find you. I'm done.
All right. You can find me at GIS Hammer on Twitter. The quest for 1K is still on. I'm at about 940, 950. So continue to follow if you're not already doing so. And then you could also follow me on Instagram at Galaxy Profile. That's Galaxy PROFOUL. So you'll stay tuned for those post-game videos and that content that's going to be coming your way.
All right, if you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at Guesman, JGUESMAN. And of course, head on over to at Galaxy Podcast, where you can find all of our wonderful tweets about the LA Galaxy, plugging all the shows, giving you all the information that we can right there. So follow that on Twitter as well. CornerTheGalaxy.com is where you can find the t-shirts, the coasters, the stickers, all that fun stuff that's coming up. Make sure you check that out. CornerTheGalaxy.com. Click the shop button. Our podcasts are there. Our videos are there. All that fun stuff is right there for you to find. CornerTheGalaxy.com. All right, that does it. LA Galaxy, Montreal Impact, 7:30 p.m. on Saturday night. We will see everybody there. For Eric the Portuguese Hammer, I'm Josh Guesman. You've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on CornerTheGalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on CornerOfTheGalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to CornerOfTheGalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everyone.